Hello, hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Can you hear me well? Yeah. Thank you for attending our session today, and also thank you for having us. We are from Oceanic. We will have a workshop today regarding better steps for better food at sea. And I wanted to first introduce myself, and then Sid will have a few words to introduce Oceanic to those of you who don't know what we are doing and what is Oceanic all about. And then we will dive into it. This is supposed to be an interactive workshop. Would be nice if you can participate, if you have questions, and let's make the best out of this, and hopefully all of us, we can learn a little bit something new today about better food on board the ships. So to start with, my name is Michael. I'm the Director of Training for Oceanic. I work with Oceanic now for more than 13 years in this position. Before that time, I used to be executive chef on cruise vessels. So same like many of our seafarers, for many years I work on board the ships. And now I'm originally from Germany. I'm based in the Philippines now, where we have a big training center. We conduct a lot of trainings for ship's cooks, not only in the Philippines. Last week I was in Jakarta. We conduct these trainings in different countries, in China, in India, in Ukraine, different parts of the world. And I could say I easily meet 1,000 ship's cooks every year, at least 20 every week from different countries. And maybe I can share with you later some interesting insights of what we come across. But okay, this is about me. I will hand over the microphone now to Sid, who's based here in Singapore, and then I will be back soon. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for having us. My name is Sid, and I am the Business Development Manager for Oceanic, based in Singapore. So, firstly, we are conducting this crew welfare workshop. In many ways, you all would be involved with ship's crew, either on the owner side, the manager side, the supply side, on the manning side. So, the crew form the very backbone of our shipping industry, and that is why it is extremely important for us to ensure that crew welfare is at the forefront of our activities. That is the reason why we have decided to conduct this workshop. So firstly, I will take you all through a bit of a brief introduction to tell you all what it is that Oceanic does on the crew welfare front, why crew welfare is important, and then we will dive into a little more details about how we can achieve crew welfare. So, first things first, why is crew welfare so important? Now we know that our crew work on board ships, and they execute contracts which could be 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. In some extreme cases, it could be even more than that. And during this time, they are spending time away from their families. They are spending time on board the ships in possibly harsh conditions. And that is why, we have to ensure that their welfare is, right at the forefront of what we are trying to achieve. Now, when we talk about crew welfare, okay, what are the parameters that we are considering? So firstly, we want to ensure that they have equitable employment opportunities on board. They have equitable employment conditions on board, and more importantly, in the few instances that they can actually go ashore, where they can actually touch their feet to the ground, we want to try our best to ensure that that opportunity is available. Secondly, because they are working on board the ships don't really have any set work timings as such. So we have to ensure that wherever possible, their rest hours are met and their living conditions are optimal. Thirdly, of course, because they are staying away from their families, so we want to ensure that they at least have some form of communication with their family members. We want to ensure that they always have safe working conditions on board. Uh, Having spent so much time at sea, we want to ensure that at the end of the day, when the seafarers sign off, okay, they are in the same physical and mental condition as when they signed on board the ship. And also, this being a career path for the seafarers, we want to ensure that we provide them a channel in which we can train, develop, and help them grow within the industry. And last but not the least, and I would say most importantly, the food and nutrition that is available on board. Now, when we are talking about the crew welfare parameters, what are the challenges that we are facing? Okay, firstly, spending time away from family, spending time away from their loved ones can definitely lead to depression on board. Secondly, working in harsh working conditions, there would definitely be a lot of stress that they would face. Working odd hours, working in rough seas, working in ports where the port is operational 24 hours, it could lead to fatigue and sleep disorders. And in very extreme cases, if all of these factors become so difficult that the seafarers cannot handle it anymore, it could possibly lead to suicides as well. Now, all of these are the welfare challenges, right? But when we are talking about specifically about the health-related challenges, of course, we can definitely imagine what the seafarers must be facing on board. So these include work-related stress. That means they are working odd hours, they are working long hours, they could be doing heavy lifting, so it could lead to work-related stress. The contracts that they are doing are fairly long, and it could lead to fatigue. More importantly, when they are working these kind of odd hours, there is a possibility that they will just eat whatever is immediately available to them. So if it is instant noodles, it is instant noodles. If it is just a piece of bread, it is just that. So it could also lead to poor nutrition on board. Now, of course, when you're doing all of these things and when all of these factors are coming into play, it could lead to some long-lasting musculoskeletal problems for them. Also, unless crew welfare is at the top of your agenda, the quality of food that you're supplying to the ships and the quality of the nutrition of the food that they are consuming would definitely be affected. All of these work-related stresses would definitely lead to anxiety. It could lead to mood disorders. It could lead to trauma. It could lead to changes in their personality. One of the main concerns that seafarers have is that there isn't sufficient healthcare that is always available. So they are depending on the second mate as the medical officer, as the captain, as well as they are depending on the free services, telemedical services like CIRM that is available to them free of cost. Okay, but if your ship is in the middle of the sea and you do have a medical emergency, then what do? There is a possibility that you may not be able to call port for the next few days, few hours, whatever it is. So that also leads to a lot of anxiety on board. And of course, isolation from families. I mean, spending so much time at sea, even if we give them means of communication, it is still not enough. They are not with their loved ones. They are not able to de-stress in the company of their family. And ultimately, these kind of challenges could also lead to substance abuse. So why does well-being matter? Okay, firstly, the harsh living conditions on board, harsh working conditions on board require the people to be physically sound. Okay. Secondly, again, the harsh working conditions on board also require the seafarers to be mentally sound. Thirdly, if they are not physically and mentally sound, it could lead to risks, it could lead to accidents, and it could affect the performance of the seafarers as well as the vessel. And fourth is resilience, where a lot of these factors can actually be combated with nutritious food. Now, to give you all a brief introduction about Oceanic. Oceanic positions itself as the well-being partner of our clients. Now, how do we achieve well-being? We have several services under Oceanic, and I would like to highlight a couple of them, which are immediately the ones that affect the well-being on board. Firstly, we provide catering and hospitality management for ship owners, ship managers, manning agents. So that could be all types of vessels. It could be merchant vessels, it could be cruise ships, it could be offshore vessels, it could be leisure crafts, expedition craft. Secondly, we provide medical solutions, because we know that at the end of the day, if there are any medical challenges that are being faced on board, it is affecting the health and welfare of the seafarers. So through our medical services, we are trying to address those challenges. Now, in a nutshell, Oceanic has been in operation for more than 20 years. We have more than 2,000 vessels under our management. We are located in 20 locations worldwide. Because we are servicing such a large fleet, we have in excess of $250 million of yearly procurement. Through our catering service, we are providing in excess of 50 million meals per year. Medical solutions, under our medical solutions, we have more than 1,000 vessels that are being catered to. And through our hospitality and training service, we are doing trainings for more than 6,000 crew every year. Now, this gives you an idea about Oceanic's global footprint. So we do have physical offices in Cyprus, Greece, Singapore, Manila, in the European countries, in Amsterdam, as well as in Miami. Besides that, we have our training locations in several countries. We have our flagship training center in Manila, but we also undertake trainings for ship's crew in countries such as India, China, Myanmar, Indonesia, Ukraine, until that was allowed. And besides that, we also have our network of catering superintendents that are based in key locations around the world. That includes places like Singapore, Shanghai, Fujairah, Santos, and Miami. By means of introduction, I would also just like to point out that our catering superintendent based here in Singapore, Mr. Kumel, is attending the conference with us. Kumel, if you could just wave out to everyone. This slide gives you an idea of the kind of clientele that we are working with. So we are working with some of the biggest and the best names in the industry, and they have entrusted their ships' crew's welfare with us. Now, what does it mean for a client to work with Oceanic? So Oceanic has got 3 pillars. Okay, the first and foremost being crew well-being, the second being digitalization, and the third being sustainability. Okay, I will get into a little more detail in later slides. I had mentioned very briefly about our training setup. So we have our ISDA accredited training center, our flagship training center in Manila. But besides that, we do have trainings that can be conducted in places such as Mumbai, Goa, Shanghai, Indonesia, Myanmar. Basically, wherever the locations where the crew are mainly coming from for ship owners and managers, we are able to cater to those locations. So even if there is a location where we are not physically present, if the client requires us to undertake trainings there, we are more than happy to do so. Now, one question that may be coming up in your mind is that why is there so much focus on training? Okay, Chief Cooks, as you all would know, plays a very crucial role on board. Okay, he is the one that is cooking he or she are the ones that are cooking the food for the crew to eat. So when the crew is going through a hard day of work and they want to come back and eat food, at least the food can be a factor to motivate them to go back and work again. Okay. Now, as an ex-seafarer, I would like to share that at least during the times that I was sailing on board, there was never really a career plan for cooks or for galley crew. So you would have a messman who would undergo some sort of training, okay, go on board in the hopes of learning something from his chief cook, and hoping that at some point, after a few years or a few contracts, he would be in a position to get promoted. But that was never a structured program. That was never a proper career path that was being defined for them. So we identified that gap, and we have started partnering with our clients to make sure that there is a career plan in place. There are certain KPIs that a messman can undergo, so that can achieve, so that he is in a position to be promoted when the time comes. Now, of course, all of this is focusing on the ship's part of it, okay, but what do we do? What does Oceanic do? So Oceanic, firstly, we have to ensure that we are supplying very good quality of food. We are ensuring that the correct quantities of food are being supplied. We have to ensure that the victualling rate that is being set by the owners and the managers is being achieved to the benefit of the crew, okay? And most importantly, we have to ensure that the quality, quantity, and the nutrition value of the food that is being served on board is optimal. In addition to us playing our part from the office, we have our catering superintendents that actually go on board the vessel. They undertake inspections of the galley areas, of the mess room areas. And essentially the idea of doing this is to ensure that if the vessel does go to a port where the port state control is quite strict, then the vessel is always in a state of readiness to be inspected by those authorities. As we know that the galley area is the galley, the storerooms, the mess rooms, these are very sensitive areas, and these are areas where it is quite easy for any authority to catch mistakes, okay? So what we are doing is that we are ensuring preparedness, at least in those areas, so that there should be no observations there. Now, we have been talking about crew welfare, and we have been talking about nutrition. So how do these two interlink? So how we ensure that this happens is firstly by sharing nutritional guidelines, by sharing a lot of material which can be used for educating the crew in terms of nutrition, in terms of various food components. And how we help them to achieve that is by helping them to implement balanced menus. Secondly, we also run campaigns. So from time to time, where there are certain interesting topics to be shared with the crew, and certain learnings that can be shared with the crew, we are providing those as well. And also we run seafarer wellness programs. So under those wellness programs, we've got various things, such as we are doing the briefings of the crew before and after they join the vessel. We run campaigns. Now, why do we run campaigns? Firstly, to increase the knowledge on board. Okay. Secondly, we also try to engage with the cooks. We try to engage with the crew, and we try to find ways in which they can contribute themselves. So, for example, one of the very recent campaigns that we had run was a healthy cake competition. Now, these kind of competitions are basically platforms for the cooks to kind of display their creativity, and at the same time, we are encouraging them to use healthy ingredients in making those cakes. So by doing this, not only are we encouraging the cook to kind of come out of their comfort zone, but we are also giving them a platform to showcase their talent, and we are giving them a platform where they can actually compare their talents with the cooks that are serving on board other vessels of the same fleet. So we spoke about training, okay, but as we know that in today's digital world, we have more younger cooks and younger messmen that are coming in. And all of them are, to some extent, quite tech savvy, okay? And our ships have progressed quite a bit in terms of technology. be it on the deck side, be it on the engine side, be it on the cargo side. But nothing had actually been done for making life easier for the galley crew. Okay, so we identified this gap and we thought, why not create our own digital ecosystem, which will allow these tech-savvy crew members to actually do away with the mundane task of making Excel sheets, making handwritten orders, okay, and why don't we actually transform them and transfer them onto a digital platform. So that is the idea behind creating our digital platform, which is known as Neris. And also, I had earlier mentioned about medical services and how that contributes towards improving crew welfare. So in this slide, we speak a little bit about the actual medical services that we offer. So the first and foremost being medical chest management. Again, during the olden days, it was the second mate who used to keep a manual record of the medicines on board in case of consumption. He used to make those deductions, and they used to place the orders directly. What used to happen in those cases was, if they are calling a port where English may not be the first language, they would be supplied with medicines where they don't actually know whether they've been supplied with the right medicines. So we are doing away with all of that ambiguity, okay, and we've introduced medical chest management where the crew can take a step back, okay, and we do the actual management of the medical chest. In case of any consumptions, we are the ones that do the replenishment for them. Along similar lines, we also have the medical oxygen management. We are doing medical supplies worldwide, so if a certain item is not included in the medical chest, it can still be supplied if it is required on board. One of the interesting services that we have is the telemedical support service. So earlier in the day, the crew used to rely on CIRM or Red Cross, which were free of charge services. But what happens if it is a free of charge service is that there is no priority that is given to you. So for example, if my ship is having a case of eczema, whereas your ship is having a case of somebody having broken an arm, if I am the first one to approach CIRM, then I would be given first priority over y'all, even though your case is more severe than mine. So to do away with that, we have introduced a telemedical service where the vessels that are under our service have access 24/7 to telemedical advice. We also undertake drug and alcohol testing. And one of the most important things today is mental health. There is a lot of focus on mental well-being and mental health of seafarers, and we are doing our little part in helping the seafarers and helping the owners and managers achieve this. So that was a brief introduction on welfare and on Oceanic, and now I will hand over back to my colleague, Michael.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Sid. Okay, so what we wanted to discuss today, a few things. We have a few questions, and hopefully together we can find a few answers regarding quality and quantity in line with crew dietary expectations, cultural, religious backgrounds, healthy and well-balanced menus based on nutritional guidelines and healthy cooking. Safe hygiene practices by trained catering crew and less wastage through proper stock administration and cost optimization, then healthy living campaigns and regulatory compliance. Before we start, in our company, safety is the most important thing, so we put a lot of effort in safety, and I'm sure everyone here can agree with us that safety is the most important thing in life. That's what we want for our family, to be always safe. And that's what our family also want from us, that we come home safe eventually. So we always have a safety moment before we start our sessions, and I wanted to do the same also today. So I want to share one incident that happened this year on one of the vessels. Of course, it's not a nice scenario to come across this, but it's a good example, not a good example, but it's an example that is good to share. What happened here, actually, I'm still waiting for the cook to come home. I wanted to talk personally to him. But what I saw from the incident report is basically that he was frying some garlic on the stove, and then somehow he tripped, and the frying oil got spilled on his arm. And it is a good example because I think these are the things that sometimes happen to us. We may feel too overconfident. We don't put focus on the job. Our mind is somewhere else. We are with the kids or with the partner or with whatever, and we don't focus. And that are the moments when incidents may happen, and it can be avoided. Most of the accidents or incidents that we come across or that happen to us or the people around us, typically they can be avoided if we just focus. Yeah, and I think this is one of the common mistakes, that people feel overconfident, because I think this cook, he's on board for many months, for many years, he's doing the job, he fried garlics for many times in his life, and on that stove, so it's a standard procedure, and it's just one moment where we don't pay attention, and this can have a big impact, of course. I think the gentleman will remember this incident for the rest of his life. Okay, anyway, so what we wanted to discuss now is quality and quantity in line with crew dietary expectations, cultural and religious backgrounds. So we wanted to have the session a little bit interactive. So I want to ask you a few questions, and hopefully you have some interesting answers. So based on your experience, what kind of food do you think the crew is expecting to find on board? Anyone like to answer this or give some insight? What is your opinion?
Tasty.
Tasty food. Food should be tasty, huh? That is important.
Being on board and is the best thing you expect when you go to the area to eat, have a tasty food.
Yeah,
Of course, we want quality, we want procedures, but at the end of the day, we want to sit, we are hungry, we want to eat something very tasty.
true, true.
Make a good meal.
Yeah, I think that is very important. But maybe what I feel is tasty is not tasty for you. I mean, the different taste buds is one of the challenges. Yeah, please, ma'am.
Culturally familiar. Culturally familiar.
Yes,
So that's very important to their own culture. What
Yes.
The different nationalities of crew on board.
yeah, very good. I think this is very important to point out, that crew on board, they expect to find the food what they used to eat at home. Yeah, there are some nationalities which are very particular about their food, like Filipinos, for example, or Indians or Chinese crew. They're very particular of their food. It's not like maybe me and you, we'd like to try some different food every day and we will be happy, but some nationalities, they really want to find their traditional food. This is of course also linked to mental well-being. Yeah, if we don't find the food that we consider to be very normal, we don't find it for a period of time, we may get mentally affected. Very good. So what do you think, what are the challenges might organizations face in accommodating the cultural and religious dietary needs of crew members? What are the challenges? What could you think of for organization to overcome this, that the people want to find their food what they used to eat at home? What's the challenge? Is it easy to do or or not? Higher oceanic. Yeah, that's the best. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, I think one big challenge is of course long voyages, right? If we are, I speak with a lot of cooks. Before I start my sessions, I always ask them, what is your biggest challenge on board? And of course, sometimes it's the long voyages. Yeah, I challenge the guys, what was your longest time without provisioning? Last week I had a gentleman in my session, he said 52 days. 52 days without provisioning. And I think we can all imagine that this is not exactly easy. Whatever skills I have or whatever scenario, but 52 days without provisioning, that is very difficult for the cook. And I think that the job is partly much underappreciated, because in a scenario like this, most ordinary cooks, maybe they would try to jump overboard and swim home because they cannot handle the scenario. So this is one of the challenges, I guess. But also different nationalities, different taste buds. What I find normal is maybe not normal for a person from the other side of the world. So there are many challenges, I guess. So what can companies do to accommodate the cultural and religious dietary needs of crew members? What do you think can be done? What should we do? Any ideas?
Data collection.
Come again?
Data collection.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important for what we believe. Our philosophy is geared around menus. Yeah, there should be a menu on board. The cook should be trained on specific menus. The cook should be listening to the feedback of the crew members, and it's important to put an effort to accommodate those different nationalities that we have on board, to try at least to accommodate those different taste buds. And one way how we tackle this is basically with our software, with the menus that we have, and the training we provide for the crew. So can you share some examples of how to maintain variety in the menu while considering cultural diversity? Can you share an example based on your idea how this can be done? Yeah, I think we said this already. Maybe we have menus. The cooks, they should try to follow the menus. The menus must be, of course, approved by the captain, and then we need to make sure that we try to supply. That's why we have some experts in the office working together with the cooks. We try to supply in a way that we don't run out of provisions, that we have the minimum or more than the minimum requirements, we have it at any given time available. So how do you ensure that the meals served align with your crew's dietary expectations? Anyone wants to answer this? Some feedback on that? I think it's important that we help the cooks. I think it's important the cooks are sometimes left alone, and because I said it before, oftentimes I ask the cooks, what is your biggest challenge on board, and oftentimes they say it's the attitude of the crew. So the crew, they have a lot of requests, they have a lot of ideas, but the cook is left alone. He cannot easily implement the menu. We may send a menu on board, which is developed by experts with a nutritionist in the background, but if the cook wants to implement it, it's sometimes not so easy for him, because the crew will tell him what to eat. The cook comes on board, he wants to serve on Friday grilled chicken breast and broccoli with brown rice, and the crew will say, no, Friday is pizza day. So that's it. It's not easy for the cook, so we need to support them, I believe. Yeah, so basically from, like I said before, for us, we believe it's important to have a menu. We provide these menus. There should be at least a 14 days menu where we try not to repeat the dishes, so there is a variety. Of course, we need to make sure that all the different nutritions are provided, but also there should be a variety, because we don't want the crew to say, oh, the food is always the same or it's always the same style. So there should be a menu cycle, yeah, at least for 2 weeks, where we try not to repeat. And then, of course, it's important that the crew is in line with the dietary requirements of different crew members, should be approved with the captain. And yeah, we are here to help and support the cooks. Of course, in the end of the day, we are not here to tell the crew what to eat. It's always, there is a professional cook on board, there is a captain. They make their own menus, but we can help them to get on the way, to have the variety and the balance and the recipes for the different cuisines. Yeah, then yeah, basically seafarers have the right to find more or less the food on board what they used to eat at home. So if we have different nationalities on board, then we need to make sure that more or less everyone finds the food what they used to eat at home. There's always, every country has their own culture, but there is also a food culture. There's certain foods we consider to be very normal. If this food is not there, then we may even get mentally affected. But of course the food is also there, or mainly there, to provide the nutritions that we need, that the human body needs to function properly. Of course we need to take also into consideration different religious beliefs. So here it's important, of course, that we treat this with respect. If we have maybe Muslim crew, or some are vegetarian, or don't eat pork, or don't eat beef, or so we need to take this, of course, into consideration and take it very serious. And in Oceanic, we work with consumption guidelines. We believe that this is a good way to make sure that the proper nutrition is achieved. And regardless of the budget, the consumption guidelines is something that we believe should be followed to make sure we have proper nutrition on board. So in our here's only one example. Basically, what we believe for typical dinner should be on the menu. There is always a good idea to have a soup on the menu. Many nationalities, they love soups. It's a good way to boost the nutritional value of the menu offering. Maybe some salad can be offered. Not all nationalities are fond of salads, but again, it's a good way to boost the nutritional value of the menu offering. Then maybe 125 to 300 grams of meat and fish. Yeah, there's sauce, there's vegetables. Yeah, so we work with consumption guidelines to help the cooks with the ordering, with the defrosting, and with the menu planning. Here's a sample menu. I think it's always important that we have different dishes on the menu so we can accommodate the different nationalities. At least there should be two setups. Typically there's the officer mess and the crew mess. And it's important that the cooks value this or that they understand that this is important. Typically they do. And but it's important that we support them, and not only with menus. When we provide menus to our crew, we always have also the recipes available in our system. Good, okay. Then we wanted to tackle a few other questions. So now we wanted to have a look at healthy and well-balanced menus based on nutritional guidelines and healthy cooking. So my first question is, what do you think is good nutrition? You said come on, yes? Balanced diet, very good. Yeah. So we said the food must be tasty, like you said, and the diet should be balanced, right? Very good. Yeah, I believe this also. Then why do you think is it important to adopt healthier diet, healthy cooking approach on board? Why is it important on board the ship?
We help to achieve the task on board. Because if you are eating bad, if you are getting too much fat products, this impact directly your health and how you will behave working on your daily shift. So.
True. Yeah, it will help us to focus better. And yeah, actually, I think I meet a lot of people from the industry. We have a lot of visitors in our training center, and it so happened that I speak with a lot of people. And I think there is a big challenge in the industry. We have excellent seafarers that we want to put on board, but at some point, eventually, they don't pass the medical. Why? Typically, it's because of lifestyle-related health issues. They may have kidney stones, they have obesity, and that's why it's so important that we focus on healthier, balanced meals on board to tackle these issues, so we can save our seafarers and make sure that they stay with us for longer. We may invest in our seafarers, and then out of the sudden we cannot place them anymore because they have health issues. So how do you encourage crew members to choose a healthier meal option while they are on board? How can we encourage them? What do you think? Yeah, basically for us, we since many years, it must have been like 10 years or more than 10 years ago, we came up with a training course for cooks. We call this Healthy Cooking at Sea. We have a nutritionist to speak with the cooks to educate them on proper nutrition. But typically when we are in front of the cooks, they will say, for me it's no problem. I can make a steamed fish, it's easy. But the crew, they don't want a steamed fish. They want fried fish. And if I make a steamed fish, there should be fried garlic on top. So it's what the crew, what they want. So how can we encourage them? So this is a big question mark. I think one option is, of course, what we can always do. We can have an option. We offer the fried fish and we offer the steamed fish at the same time, so the crew can choose. But I think it's also in order to achieve a healthier or to implement a menu on board or to achieve a healthier menu offering on board, it must be a holistic approach. What we are trying to do now is basically we attend a lot of crew conferences where we try to speak with the seafarers. We want to talk to the cooks, not the cooks, maybe we speak of course with the cooks, but also the seafarers. Because the cooks typically say the seafarers, they don't want this. They want traditional food, it must be fried. Yeah. So we try to speak to the crew with our nutritionists. We try to put our nutritionists in front of the seafarers to give them some ideas how to stay healthier, but also we send some materials, of course, on board, some educational materials for the crew. But our next step is basically that we reach out to the families. So we have some family engagement sessions where we invite the families of the seafarers, and we have a session again also with our nutritionists, because sometimes the crew, they may eat more or less good on board, but once they go home, I think we can all relate to this when we're on vacation. This is not the time to watch our diet. When we're on vacation, we go maybe full blast, and then there's a party, and there's some beers and different kinds of food. So that's what we try to do to close the circle. We need to, I think it's a holistic approach where we try to convince people or educate people to eat healthier. So it needs to come not only from the cook or the captain, it has to come also from the crew, of course. So, so have you encountered resistance to healthy menu changes, and how have you addressed it? Any one of you? Did you? Actually, I can relay this from home when I try to put some healthier food choices for my son. So, did you encounter things like this also with your family or with your crew members on board? You try to change. Put, instead of the fried chicken, you put the grilled chicken, and have you some experiences or with your crew that you maybe you put the menu on board, and do they follow this, or have you any encounters?
Give you an example.
Yes, please.
I'm from Brazil, and there in Brazil, usually the guys work, labor. When you offer them health food, they said, that will not keep me up for next shift. If I eat something too light, like salad or healthy food, it will not keep me strength to continue the job for the rest of the day.
Yes.
So what I saw in one of our customers is that they are giving fruits during the day, so like this they can eat something healthier at least, but to keep this big, beans, rice, and a lot of things, because we like that way.
Yeah.
They feel themselves more strength. So we put fruits to help to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important. I came across this myself. People believe they need to eat a lot of meat because they work extra shift, but it's wrong information, I guess, what many people have. That's why it's important what we try to do to put our nutritionists in front of the people, because it's not necessary to eat 1 kilo meat every day. It's not healthy. Or I speak with cooks, they say, no, I have some crew, they want to eat 3 eggs every day. It's not healthy. But the people, they believe something which is actually not true. So I think proper education here or training is important again. So now another question. Imagine a scenario where a supplier fails to deliver fresh ingredients on time. What do you think is the impact on crew meals? So imagine we have a vessel coming to Singapore, and then we fail to deliver because they have a tight schedule and we cannot deliver on time. What is the impact? What do you think? If the cook doesn't receive all the provisions he needs, what will happen? You have an idea? Of course, it will be very difficult for the cook to follow the menus that he's planning. It will be difficult for him to face the crew. The crew, they expect the food to be there. They don't think about why it's not there. They just expect, they have an expectation. So it will be very difficult for the cook, for the captain on board to maintain the diet what they have actually had in mind when they place the order. They have something specifically in mind. They have the cooks. They need some certain ingredients because they have in mind certain dishes they want to cook for the crew. Maybe there is some crew they are asking already since a while for these certain dishes. So the cook really needs the ingredients, and if he doesn't have them, it's very difficult to explain this to the crew, for the cook. Okay, good. So some nutritional goals. Yeah, what we want, why we want proper nutrition. Of course, health and well-being is important. Yeah, so here it's important that we have balanced menus on board. Also, energy sustenance is important. Yeah, that we have the energy. Yeah, we need to the output to do our job. It's also physical support. Muscle recovery, for example, is coming from proper nutrition. Also, we can prevent chronic diseases with proper nutrition. Yeah, some say the best medicine is food, and I think this is true. Then nutrient sufficiency. Yeah, so we can address some deficiencies of certain vitamins or even minerals or fiber. Hydration, is important to ensure proper hydration, especially. I think is one of the issues that we have with crew on board. They eat too much salt and they don't drink enough water, and then they end up with, having kidney stones. Yeah, then mental well-being, of course. Yeah, it can good food or good nutrition can reduce stress and can enhance the focus. Positive culture on board, of course. Enjoyable dining experience, of course, is also good for our mental health. Then, of course, we need to make sure that we tackle specific dietary preferences for vegetarian or people with allergic reactions and so on. Then, how can we eat healthy on board? Yeah, now it's important that we don't skip meals, that we get our nutrition over the day. Don't skip breakfast. Breakfast is an important meal where we get 20 to 25% of our energy for the day. Then golden rules, 5 a day for the fruits and for the vegetables. Like this we get more vitamins, minerals, antioxidants in our diet, and also very important is the fiber, for our intestinal tract. Then we should choose high fiber food when possible. Yeah, it helps to regulate the blood sugar levels. Unless if we compare, for example, this highly bleached rice or flour, where when we consume this have maybe a sugar spike compared to if we eat complex carbohydrates like brown rice or whole wheat products. Then we should limit fat, sugar, and salt intake. Yeah, I guess we all know this, but unfortunately this is one of the challenges. Yeah, so we should avoid the fatty and sugary foods. Yeah. Otherwise, we may face obesity, heart diseases, diabetes risk. Hydration is important, 8 to 10 glasses per day, depending on the environment, maybe more if it's hot. Also careful with caffeine, too much caffeine may increase insomnia or high blood pressure. Then I think it's important, this is something we try to tackle. We have to reduce the sodium intake. One problem I believe is that many people don't know how much sodium they intake, especially from these cup noodles, sausages, processed meats. Yeah, so we should try to find ways how to reduce salt of course, in cooking and menus in general. Yeah, so salty snacks, sausages, bacon, daily meats. Unfortunately, this is the food people really they like for breakfast. Also this morning I was on a breakfast buffet. Of course there are sausages, there's bacon, all the salty foods, and it's the most popular. In another corner you see they have also muesli and cereals, but nobody is looking around that area. Everybody goes for the fried eggs, and it is what it is. But still we should try to find ways how to limit the intake of these kinds of foods. Then one problem is also these broth cubes, which are very high in sodium, of course. Then we have to find ways how to lower the sugar intake. So of course we should try to avoid this sugary drinks. If we have 1 can of Coca-Cola, we have already our sugar intake for the whole day. And we should limit the sugary snacks. It's always better to prepare homemade cakes and cookies on board rather than the ready-made products. Careful also with all the sausages, ketchup, and all the things. There's a lot of sugar inside. And whole fruits are always better than these juices, especially the processed juices are typically full of sugar, of course. Yeah, and then one good thing, way what people can do themselves is really try to reduce the sugar level in your coffee and tea gradually. Yeah, try to put less, yeah, every day, because if I have 3 coffees a day or even 4 or more, and always I put a few spoons of sugar inside, then that can be dramatic. Yeah, so basically some guidelines, yeah. So for the sodium, yeah, it should be less than a teaspoon of salt per day, yeah. And if we think, I think many of us, not only the seafarers, but it's much more than what we intake, and this is one of the things we need to try to limit. Yeah, I understand it's very difficult. Of course, the cooks, they can use less salt in the food, but then of course the crew, they will complain, oh, the food has no power, it's a little bit boring, the taste is difficult. So this is also something that has to come from the crew, from the people. It's not something the cook can just, oh, from now on I don't put salt anymore. It doesn't work that way. So it's like I said before, there's a holistic approach. Then also for the sugar, the same thing, yeah. Less than 70 grams of sugar per day, yeah. This is something needs to be achieved. It has to come from the people themselves, from the crew, and will be difficult for the cook to implement. But of course, it's important first of all to know the things. Then also the saturated fat intake and trans fat. This is dangerous. So we have to limit this. The fried food, for example, again, is difficult for some nationalities. They really are very much into fried food. They don't appreciate the steamed fish and so on. So again, there's a holistic approach. We have to convince the crew to eat healthier. It's not something the cook or the captain can just implement. It has to come from the crew, and there has to be a change. And we are happy to assist to achieve this. But it is there is not a one-stop solution for this. So this is how a healthy plate actually should look like. It's important to understand this. Yeah, the key for good nutrition is always moderation. It is important. If my favorite food is a fried pork belly, okay, I can eat this sometimes. It's okay, but not every day and then a big portion. It should be in moderation. I can eat all the foods, but I need to balance. Yeah. So this is how the healthy plate should look like, basically. Yeah? Half of what we eat should be fruits and vegetables. Yeah, not like some others. The half is rice and the other half is meat. Should be we need to get the fiber into our diet. Yeah, here are some examples. Yeah, how we can achieve healthy nutrition on board. So basically, we said we wanted to achieve the 5 servings of fruits per day. Yeah. Now sometimes if you ask the cooks, they say, "Oh, how about my budget?" There's no problem with the budget. Yeah. It doesn't matter what is the budget. We can achieve this. Yeah. It's just some people, they don't know what is actually about. Yeah. What are the quantities? Yeah. So if we have in the morning, and this is common practice, a glass of juice is actually already too much because there's too much sugar inside. But if we drink a cup of juice in the morning, this is already, because it's concentrated, equivalent to 3 servings of fruits. Yeah. Then maybe for lunch we eat a banana. Actually, supposed to be here also what we say is 1/3 of a banana, but nobody is eating 1/3. If we eat a banana, we eat the whole banana typically. If we eat an apple, maybe we eat the whole apple. So this is already equivalent to 2 servings. Yeah. And then maybe for dinner we have some sliced watermelon or chopped fruits, whatever. And again, we easily get our 2 servings. So it's easy to get 5 servings of fruits every day. Yeah, it's not going to be 5 bananas a day. Normal consumption, yeah, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, small quantities, is already enough. For the vegetables, it's the same. We should try to achieve 5 servings a day. Here, if we have in the morning, maybe we have an omelette or we have some scrambled egg, we put some tomatoes inside, or maybe spinach or some other stuff. Yeah, half cup is not much. Yeah, So we can easily achieve this. Yeah, it doesn't matter what is my budget, I can easily achieve this. Yeah, there I have already my first serving. Yeah, for lunch, maybe there's some chop suey or there's some stir-fried vegetables, or even if I have a curry, there can be also some vegetables inside. It's easy to get a half cup of vegetables for lunch. Yeah, then I have my 2 servings. Yeah, typically it will be 1 cup. It's not much. Yeah, and for dinner, maybe there's a salad or there is a beef stew or whatever with some vegetables inside. It should be relatively easy to have 2 cups of vegetables for dinner, so I get easily my 5 servings. Yeah, the balance can be easily achieved. Yeah, but the food may be served buffet style. Is the crew really going for the carrots or will they go for extra sausage? This we don't know. Yeah, this is something why it's important to educate the seafarers, of course, accordingly. Yeah, so if we eat healthy, of course, we can avoid nutritional deficits, or of course we can achieve optimum physical and mental performance. Yeah, the proper nutrition feeds the body with energy. It lowers fatigue, it increases endurance maybe, more focus, memory, yeah, better work performance. Mental well-being is also affected by proper, by healthy eating. Yeah, we have a better mood, stress levels may go down. Good, then we wanted to discuss about safe hygiene practice by trained catering crew and less wastage through proper stock administration and cost optimization. So a few questions again for the audience. What measures have you found most effective in reducing food wastage while maintaining quality and quantity? What do you think could be measures to reduce food waste and maintain the quality? Any ideas?
Well-planned menu.
I think this is very important, proper menu planning. Yeah, please. Yes,
Proper story.
very good.
As per my experience, when we deliver even the freshest, of course, I'm a ship supplier, so we make sure that the fresh produce is really quality controlled, and we always look at the side of like having this on having a greater, a longer shelf life. But sometimes when you deliver to a ship, the cook is busy, or so we just receive it like that, and they start putting it to the storage, and they sometimes mishandle, oftentimes mishandle the proper storing of the fresh fruits and vegetables. Like if you have lettuce or you have leeks, and then you put on top, the cabbage, the hard ones, then that will be smashed. So I think one important thing for our chief cook or our messman to know is really the proper storing of all these fresh fruits and vegetables. Even the fish, the fish and the meat, sometimes they're so very careless. They just dump it on any space that they have, and then maybe it will take them a while to properly check. So I'm pointing out that, of course, all of these things cannot be done by the chief cook. I think our messman must also be educated on the proper storing, so he can help the chief cook maintain the quality of all the produce that he receives.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot in his hand also.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing. I think both of you have very good points. First of all, the menu planning is important. Of course, if I have a long voyage, I'm not going to use the root vegetables and the pumpkin first. I will first use the soft leafy greens, and it's important that I plan my menu accordingly. And then after 2, 3, 4 weeks, I can start to use the frozen vegetables. So it's very important, the menu planning. And also what you said, I think a big focus should be on food waste management, We need to make sure that we follow proper storage procedures. I agree, it's very important to have a well-trained cook on board. They should know the procedures, the messman as well. If I see a messman, I always see a potential chief cook. Yeah, a messman should be basically on the stepping stone to become a chief cook, so it must be well-trained also. But I think it's equally important that there is a minimum of supervision also. The chief cooks, many chief cooks we come across, I think they know what to do, but after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they fall into shortcuts. Yeah, they do, okay, whatever, just make it through the day. And here it becomes important that there is some support and supervision on board. But very good points. So what do you think are the main factors causing food waste on board? Wrong storage maybe, right? Wrong menu planning. What else? Yeah, could be maybe also overproduction. Yeah, typically is oftentimes is wrong stock management, of course. So what do you think how the catering crew should be trained on safe hygiene standards? Storage and hygiene, of course, goes hand in hand. So how can we train the guys and girls? Yeah, I think based on my experience, it's some people, they learn by repetitive learning. Yeah, there's some things it's not to attend a hygiene training one time and then for the rest of their career everything will be spick and span always. It's important, again, there is a career development plan in place where we retrain the crew on periodically. Anyway, let's have a look. These are some examples I came across. Maybe this is also what you mentioned before. So, wrong storage procedures. Yeah, so for the cooks it's important. First of all, I think one problem, sometimes they are left alone. They do whatever they want, and this is one of the problems. But of course, a good cook, I should be able to leave him alone. So here what we can see here is neglectance, yeah, where the cooks actually, in this case, they should have removed the fruits and vegetables from these cartons. There should be proper storage containers available. And of course, it's an important part of the job to check on a daily basis, yeah, to check the provisions. Also, careful ordering, menu planning. Yeah, we need to order mindful for the fresh broccoli, for example, in this case. It should not come to this stage, of course, but we need to also understand maybe fresh broccoli can be only kept for 10 days, so we cannot oversupply, or the cooks cannot overorder on the fresh, certain fresh produce. We can, of course, always stock up with frozen vegetables. The nutritional values are more or less the same like for the fresh. Yeah, also here is a typical example. These pictures is something what our catering superintendent is coming across sometimes when we visit the vessels. So the cooks, they need to remove the items from the plastic packaging. What we see here, there's trapped moisture inside. That's causing the molds, of course. Yeah. So again, it's important that the cooks practice proper storage procedures. And but in my opinion, definitely the fault here is with the cook. But my question is, why did nobody notice this? I mean, but of course, I mean, it's a responsibility of the cook after all. So here is an example how a storeroom could look. Yeah, you can see this chief cook on this vessel is very professional, is well organized, and proper storage basket, well ventilated. Compared to here, we have the food all over the place on the floor. All boxes are open and it's not well organized, and even I believe it's difficult to do an inventory in a scenario like this. So it's important when our cold food must be kept cold. Of course, the temperature should be below 5 degrees. It should be in proper containers. Everything should be covered and labeled. Of course, here is an example what the cooks can do. And you can see here there is especially here. It doesn't cost extra money. The cooks can easily do this. They can use the old ice cream containers, permanent marker. They can be organized. Yeah. So of course we meet a lot of cooks. And I wanted to point out that many of these guys, they do an excellent, outstanding job. It's a very difficult job, and but of course, some need some additional supervision, I believe. Here are also some examples of how things can go wrong. Actually, this chief cook here was sent home. There were too many issues, but they need to maintain a proper stock management, check the first, follow the first in, first out procedures, and proper hygiene practice. I believe here in this picture, what happened actually is that the cook was using a dirty knife when he was cutting the cheese. So, yeah, for the frozen storage, here is important, the food must be kept below -18. Also, when we receive the food on board, or when some of you deliver the food on board, this is actually the temperature, the safe temperature for frozen foods. Here are some examples, yeah, exactly what you also said. For me, this is a complete disaster, but again, yes, we can see here the chief cook failed. I'm very sure the inventory is wrong on board these vessels, but also the question is, why did nobody see this? Yeah, is the cook really left alone? He can do whatever he wants. So this is something that needs to be tackled. Yeah, but of course training is important, and support, of course, shoreside support, but also the captain, of course, needs to, or the chief officer needs to have an eye. It's not that they need to spend 1 hour. They can just have a round. If the cook knows the captain is coming, he's making a round, the cook will behave totally different compared to if he knows, oh, nobody's coming, so I do what I want. So for the dry storage, here is of course important that we have a good air circulation. Temperature should be below 21 degrees, should be also relatively low air humidity. Here's an example. Yeah, I like the storeroom. I mean, there is not everything is right. Of course, on a moving vessel, there could be a safety issue. Yeah, but it's easy to take an inventory. Yeah, so it is nice and organized. But yeah, during rough sea, there will be a big disaster about to happen. So here are some other examples that we found also on board during our catering superintendent visits. And I think pictures speak sometimes more than words. It's a complete disaster. For sure, if we have a closer look here, actually we did, and we found some expired items. So there is no stock management, there's no control. Yeah, it looks like the cook, he just put everything inside and then leave me alone, I go to my cabin. Yeah, so it's important again that we train the cooks, that we not leave them alone, that we support them, and yeah, these are also examples I share with the cooks when I talk to them, and yeah, it's always good to have some case studies. So here is another example. I think this cook again is very organized. It will be easy to do an inventory, and the storeroom can look like this, and we know already that this chief cook is very professional. Yeah, so what do you think is wrong in this picture here? Sorry, I hope it's not disturbing just before lunchtime. Needless to say, huh? If we work like this, if we waste the food like this, then our budget will be never enough. The crew will be never happy. They will always say we want more. So there is something significantly wrong here, yeah, if we don't manage our food waste properly on board. So of course it's a big challenge for catering crew on board is the food waste. It's not easy. We have the long voyages. We want to have enough provision for a period of time, but it lasts only so long. So it is a challenge. It has an impact on even on the environment if we waste the food, but also on our budget. So yeah, but it can be avoided or it can be controlled. Of course, it's important that we have proper stock management procedures on board, careful food ordering, and good procedures, yeah, for first in, first out procedures. Then yeah, of course, it's important that we order carefully our food for the period of time that we sail. Yeah, that we don't overorder exactly. That's again part of our philosophy. There should be a menu, and the cook should order according to the menu. He can do this also with our software. It's linked. The menu is linked to the order list. We should always order according to the menu, and then of course use the items mindfully. Yeah, like I said before. Actually, I had an experience on an offshore vessel before when we had on the day we had our delivery. One of the guys was making a banana cake. So I said, "What? Why? Why you use the bananas now? Why don't you wait until they get brown?" Yeah. So it's important that we use our provision wisely, of course. And also very important, of course, that we check the provisions. Yeah, in some countries or some places, maybe the quality is questionable. Yeah, we give good money to our suppliers, and they need to give us good quality provisions, of course. Yeah. So our crew on board, they need to carefully check the provisions, and it's part of our procedure. For us, part of the procedure is they cannot close the delivery cycle unless they have provided supplier feedback. This goes into our system, and next time we come to the port, we may not choose the supplier anymore if they deliver food not according to our specifications. Yeah, then proper storage procedures, proper rotation following the first in, first out procedures, of course, important. Then the areas must be clean and neat and tidy. Well-ventilated storage containers is important, and it must be really a daily routine of the cooks or the catering crew to check the freshness and the condition of the provisions on board. Yeah, then it's important to follow the first in, first out procedures, and also, like I said before, it's good if the captain can really, at least if he's making a round, that helps already a lot. And we very much recommend the cooks to work with a daily food log. It means they keep a clipboard in the storeroom. Every time they take out something from the storeroom, they write it quickly down, and then maybe on Monday or on any day of the week, they go to the cabin and check how much did I use this week. Yeah, so they can keep an overview. Same if the vessel is under Oceanic, they can do this in Neris in our software, where they can indicate what they take out for the storerooms, and any time of the month they know exactly how much they have used, and not only in the end of the month when they do the inventory and it's already too late. Okay, then of course we said about hygiene. Of course it's important to have a proper cleaning plan and cleaning schedule in place to make sure that the areas are clean and tidy. Of course the food contact surfaces must be cleaned after each use, but some other areas must be also cleaned. We can see here a nice example of a ship's galley, and based on what I see, this is not the latest model, I would say. It's maybe at least 10 years old, but nice and clean and tidy. So it can be done, yeah, if the cooks follow procedures. I guess there's also some supervision in place on board, so it can be achieved, of course. Good. Then we have a few other topics. I think Sid will take over again. And thank you very much for listening. We are here. Later we have a question and answer sessions, and I will be happy to answer other questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Right, so once again, we will make this a little more interactive. We mentioned briefly about running healthy living campaigns on board some of the vessels, or all of the vessels that Oceanic serves. But I would also like to put the question back to y'all. Has any of y'all observed any healthy living campaigns being run on board your ships? Any sort of campaigns where you'll promote healthy living, healthy eating, nutrition, things like that? All right, so I'm guessing the answer is no, but yeah, it is something that has been very actively being promoted by Oceanic. We are trying our best to ensure that that the food on board is nutritious, that it is healthy, and it contributes towards the well-being and the welfare of the crew. Now, secondly, what role do you think education plays in promoting a healthier lifestyle? I think just like any other subject, if you are well educated, if you are well informed about a certain topic, you are able to implement it and you are able to enforce it in your own life. So, for example, the reason why I am able to come here and speak to you about catering services, or if I were to speak to you about my role as a navigating officer, it is because I have been given sufficient education to execute those duties. Similarly, as far as nutrition is concerned, the best way that we can promote nutrition on board is by first educating our crew about it. Another important question is that, okay, we run these campaigns, we promote healthy living, we promote nutrition, but how do you actually measure its impact? Any answers to that? What do you think would be the best way of finding out whether or not your campaigns have been successful? Okay, I think one of the main factors over here is firstly seeing the retention rate of the crew, seeing whether they are coming back to serve on board your vessels, seeing whether they have had any sort of health challenges while on board, seeing if they have had any sort of health challenges after signing off and after spending some time at home. And more importantly, we can also run surveys to try and get the feedback from the crew themselves as to what they felt about the food on board, whether they felt it was nutritious and whether they felt that it affected their health in a positive way. So we have been speaking about seafarers' well-being for quite some time, and we have been speaking about educating our crew. So the best ways to do it is by sharing educational material in the form of nutritional guidelines, in the form of implementing well-balanced menus on board, and by running these health campaigns. And besides nutrition, what exactly are we trying to achieve with these healthy living campaigns? So I had mentioned to you all earlier about one of the campaigns that we had run on board our vessels sometime back, which was a healthy cake competition. So the cooks were encouraged to take healthy ingredients to prepare a cake, to share photographs of the cake, and we had run this as a competition amongst all the ships that we are serving. Now, what did we achieve through that? Okay, firstly, we gave the cooks a platform to showcase their creativity, to showcase their talent. Okay. Second is we utilize that as one of the forms of supporting well-being on board, because cooking itself can be quite a therapeutic exercise. Thirdly, we were trying to foster collaboration. That means we were trying to get all of the cooks in an interactive way, and by ensuring that at the end of the challenge there was some sort of a reward for them. Fourth, obviously, we were trying to promote nutritional awareness. Okay, and fifth was we were also trying to empower cooks. Now, the role of a cook on board the vessel is quite a thankless job, and it is quite a mundane job. You know, we don't view the food on board as something that actually requires tremendous effort and tremendous planning. So by running these campaigns, by giving them a platform to showcase their talents, by giving them a platform to engage with other cooks, okay, we are trying our best to empower our cooks. And most importantly, at the end of the day, we also have to ensure that we are compliant with the regulations in force. So what are the steps that we take to ensure that that the food service is compliant with international and local regulations? And what are the kind of regulations that we are talking about? So we are speaking about MLC 2006. We are speaking about European ship and standards. We are talking about specific requirements for specific countries. So for example, USCG might be having a particular requirement, or AMSA might be having a particular requirement. So what we do in serving all of our ships is that we gather as much information as possible, and we try to disseminate that information towards the other ships as well. So that way the learnings from one ship in one location can be used to educate the ships serving in other locations. And that is also the way in which we keep ourselves updated on the safety and nutrition standards on board. So that brings us to the end of our presentation, and we would now like to open the floor to any questions that you all may have, either for myself or for Michael. Yes, please.
I have a question regarding packaging,
Yes.
because we know on the especially the environmental actions that we need to have, bags. And due to some regulations in different countries, we need to use these plastic bags in some cases. Like in Brazil, we have to use plastic crates to deliver provisions. That is the compulsory rule for our local health surveillance agency. Then some vessels have plastic trays to put the goods. Some vessels they don't have it, and then when we supply, they don't want to give them back. And of course, something that costs money, we cannot just give it away. So what we do in some cases is we put a plastic bag covering the case, so we can put the goods inside, and then more easily just take out the plastic bag and just keep it in some place where until they find us the right spot. So that will be the best solution, sort it out. But what happens is that some of the vessels, well, they say, well, after this we got too much plastic bags, so we have a challenge. From our side, what we have encountered as a solution is that we offer a free key bag plastic, so we can take out all the plastic bottles and plastic bags to our company, to a reverse logistic company who, after that, take out those goods and allow to reduce the plastic. That's a solution that we have in our market and that we would like to share and that we use in other companies because that will be helpful. How do you do on board when you don't have plastic crates to storage properly? And then the supplier will bring or carton boxes or plastic crates or plastic bags, and then you have food spoiling as well because they don't open properly. So how do we can have an agreement between supplier and vessel on board when the crew or the cook doesn't have the proper cases to storage? So it will be good for us to know, like suppliers, what you have on board to keep the goods, so we can bring you something that will be, let's say, tailor-made to your needs and what your space and your capacity on board to storage properly.
Please allow me to answer this. I think this is a very good point, and I think this is something that we should address together, because I think communication is perfectionation. So why don't you communicate with the vessels before you deliver? Why don't you ask them, do you have crates? Please, I need to let you know, we need our crates back. And can you not make a competitive, ask them to buy the crates at cost, for example? I mean, it would be in everybody's interest. That is a solution I could think of. But supposed to be, of course, they have storage containers. They have these crates. This is what we typically recommend. But, okay, different vessels, different owners, different scenarios. But if you want to tackle this from your side, if you want to take the initiative, I think the best approach is if you start the communication early, not on the delivery day. Then it's too late, and I think that would be a fantastic initiative from your side. If you can ask the vessel, do you have containers? Do you want our containers? We offer them at this price, and maybe there could be a solution.
Usually we have a standard email with all details, but is it like a contract, or when you buy something, there is a standard contract that everybody knows it, but nobody reads actually. Yeah. So we send a standard email, but then later on when we really are delivering, people realize about that, and it's something that we are addressing, and this thing is important because plastic now is have to take care of environmentally.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Thank you for sharing. Hopefully in the future this will change.
Yeah.
There should be storage crates, of course, on board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions? Any other points that, anything that we may have missed out that y'all would like to address? Yes, please.
As one of your suppliers, how can we help you, or how can we contribute to crew health, or crew well-being apart from supplying good quality provisions?
Michael?
Yeah, for us, basically, it's important that we get fresh quality to the in the right conditions with expiration dates well within the, within the parameters. This is already what you can do. I mean, that is very important that we get good quality provisions, and yeah, that you also put pressure maybe on your suppliers to make sure that they provide the provision according to your specifications. It's important also, I think, but I know we work long time with you, you have a good understanding, but it's important to have a good understanding of what it means on board the ship, to last with the provisions. The cook is really is a challenge. Yeah, doesn't matter if it's a good cook or bad cook. It's always a challenge to make the items last long, to keep them fresh. So everything start, and also maybe when you deliver the food, maybe there is a delay in the port. There is another delay with the crane. Then there is another delay once the ship is already on the deck, that the crew finally brings everything in the storage areas. So we lose quality there also. So it is tremendously important that we get good quality provisions. And also, I think one of the big challenges cooks have is the big packaging. Sometimes when we have, let's say we have a big box of beef brisket or beef liver is a good example also, where they need only a rather small quantity for one serving. Maybe they need only 4 kilos, but the box comes big and everything is stuck together. So this is a challenge for the cooks, because they are not supposed to defrost the items and then put them back in the freezer. So if we can source smaller packaging to competitive pricing, that would be a fantastic help for the crew on board. Thank you for the question.
Yes, ma'am.
And another thing, I really appreciate the kind of training that you have for the cook. But I think, as a suggestion, let education be not only on the kitchen staff, but also on the entire crew. Because no matter how our cook wants to prepare a healthy meal, as you said, the attitude of those people who eat is different. Just like, as per my experience, one of the crew was telling me, how come you are supplying us pork without fat? We want something, we want a pork with a thicker fat. I said, if I will give you a pork with thicker fat, you might not be here after 5 years. You see, let's say, a pork belly or a pork ham with a bigger fat content. But my intention is to give them a better quality, which I think is better, right? But, sometimes. And another thing, just like you said, the breakfast. Sometimes I would talk to the cook. I said, how come you ordered a lot of bacon, ham, sausages, tocino, all those things? I said, why don't you give them a better healthy meal, like maybe the granola, the yogurt, with the fresh fruits or whatever? He said, they won't eat that. They won't eat that because it really comes from, the training, the habit, the family culture. We meet all these seamen and they are already old. They're 25 and above. So what they have experienced from childhood to adulthood, the way of eating is already there. So it is really a very, very big challenge. Imagine teaching them all over again, or letting them realize that eating too much rice or taking all this stuff is, we wanted them to be healthy. I'm always showing them, you come to the ship, fit to work. Then you get back, you are unfit
Yeah.
already. Why? Because you have Saturday nights. They cook, all the sisig, the lechon, and so I said, you're not making yourself, you're not yourself healthy, you're destroying yourself. And then they drink all the beer, you know, the consumption of all those fatty food with the beer and all the drinks.
Yeah. No, true. I fully agree with you. That's what we have also understood, that there must be a holistic approach. It's not just to train the cook. It's important that we educate the seafarers. We try to do this. We attend crew conferences. We have family engagement sessions where we also try to train the housewives. But also we have developed, actually I was very much involved in this. We have developed a number of e-learning courses. And one of our courses is, that was supposed to be for the ship's cooks, and we wanted to call this course Nutritional Education for Ship's Cooks. But we put a lot of effort into this. I'm actually quite proud of the end product. It's a very good material. And we put a lot of micro-learning contents. You know, nowadays the people, they don't want long contents anymore. Now people are using TikTok, and I don't know, they don't even want to watch long movies anymore. They want short and crisp information. I think that's many of us what we do. If we want to know something, we quickly look on Google. We don't want to watch a whole YouTube video. We just want to have a quick information. So we have developed this e-learning course with a lot of micro contents, small contents, all related to nutritional education. And when we did some testing in the end and approval from different people, and I was actually the one pushing to rename the course. So now the name of the course is just nutritional education, because it's not only for ship's cooks. The whole crew should actually have access to this and get a better understanding of nutritional education. It starts already with reading food labels. Many people, maybe some of us the same, we don't properly read the food labels. We don't fully understand what is the sodium content, what is the sugar content, what is the trans fat in the cup noodles or whatever food we consume at home. So I fully agree with you. There must be education for the seafarers, but it's a holistic approach because sometimes people are not open for it. They say, no, like you said, they want the pork fat, they want like this, like that. They are not open for it. So it's a slow, gradual change that needs to happen, and training or educating the crew is a big step, a big part of it. Thank you.
And just to add on to what Michael has said, that yes, the training is specifically intentioned for the galley crew, but the educational material that we are distributing, it is actually being distributed directly to the ships. So that means that any posters, any campaigns, any booklets that are focused on topics such as food safety, topics such as nutrition, healthy eating, all of these things. So these are intended for all the crew on board. It's not specifically only for the galley crew. So that's how we try to get more people to buy into the concept of healthy living and healthy eating. Any more questions from the audience? If not, then once again, we would like to take the opportunity to thank you all for attending this workshop. Thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak before you all. I think there was a lot of interesting questions and a lot of interesting input that we got from the audience. And if at all there is any topic that you would like to address outside of this workshop, then we'd be very happy to have a quick chat with you later. But thank you once again, everyone, for joining us today, and we hope that you have a great event.
Thank you.